Welcome back to the pack. It's Yoff the TheWolfeCraze. We got another update on ALVO here. This is a review of the Quest 2 launch and a few of the things to expect in the future. We got a little bit of a roadmap discussion. It's a pretty brief one, but it's a good one, so be sure to stick around. I'll give you a little bit more information here, but here we go. Strap on in and let's go. On March 17th, 2020 at 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Mardonpol and OutsideIn released ALVO on Quest 2, Meta Quest 2, at a reasonable applause. It was received well for the most part. There were a lot of people who bought the game, they bought into it, and they are seemingly enjoying it. The reviews are mostly positive, with a 4.1, I think the last time I checked, out of 5 stars, so it's in really good standing at the moment. And most of the reviews that are negative are focused more so on the gun mechanics, not the way the gun fires, not anything like that, but the control scheme. So the manual reload being absent, the manual reload that you would typically see in Pavlov and in Onward and in Contractors. In fact, this game is being compared to a lot of those because those are the heavy hitters over on the Quest platform, but ALVO stands apart because of its speed, kill streaks, the perk system, and everything else that it offers. So ALVO will still stand apart, but the goal is to try to meet the needs of, I guess, as many players as possible. That would be the ultimate goal, to ensure that all the control schemes that people are accustomed to are there or present, or at least fairly close to. And that's what brings us to this post. Having released only last Thursday, or this past Thursday, it now being Sunday, March 20th, the team has already started working on a new reload system that will be added onto the existing reload systems. And furthermore, the control scheme, from jumping to sliding and all that other stuff, is being reconfigured. From what I understand, the same configuration that exists now at launch is going to remain the same. Like, it's going to still be there for the most part, but I think there is one change that is going to be made that's permanent for everybody, and that will be written in here, which I'm going to go over. This is just in response to the criticisms, but it's also really good to see this. The response is so quick and immediate that the team is already addressing it. I think that's going to keep players around. It's going to make them feel heard. It's going to make them feel like we understand what they want, ultimately, is what it comes down to. So why don't we hop into what Steve wrote over here on the official ALVO Facebook page. He wrote, 2 days after release and the game is running smooth. A lot of new players were introduced to the game for the first time. Reception was good. In our first update, we plan on adding a map, utility belt, fixing some bugs, and making adjustments to our controls based on player feedback. Please leave a rating on the blah, blah, blah. The new map is not technically new. It's on PlayStation, but it's not on the Quest platform. So that's something to strongly consider. Like, yes, it'll be new to the new players, but it's not new to people who have gone from the PlayStation platform to the Meta platform. Utility belt is going to be a newer thing. This was also in response to customer feedback saying that they don't really know where their hands need to be to grab the grenade or grab the magazine, which you guys will see when I play. There is just some confusion around that. This is going to be more of a visual indicator for people, and I did test it out, and right now it's just like very basic standard gray like body IK, but they're gonna obviously make it look nicer. But it functions well, and it's exactly what people would want. I can almost guarantee it. So it'll be for visual indicators, and the matchmaking improvements are going to be improved, such as party invitation fixes and voice chat indicator fixes. So right now the voice indicators are just pretty much static. You know that people are talking, but there's no indication of who's talking, unless of course you already know their voices. So the party invitation is kind of wonky. It works sometimes and it doesn't work other times, so it's going to be more consistent after this patch, or at least that's the hope. We're going to keep an eye on that one. The controls are going to change. This is where the big thing comes. The big changes come into play for a lot of people. Crouch, prone, slide, and slide will be changed to the A button. So if you look at, let me pull this controller out. If you look at this controller, before it was the right grip, that would help you slide, crouch, and go prone. So crouch, press it, slide while you press it while you're running to slide, and then you hold it to go prone. That is now switching to the A button, which is right here. And I've tested out the build and it works fine. I think, is it more comfortable? It's hard to say because I'm already accustomed to the existing layout, but I adapted real quick. And yeah, I think people will be happy about it. That's going to leave the grips open for people to actually use to grab things, which was the major complaint, because over on the Quest platform and PC platform, people are accustomed to the grips being a means to grab things. So having the A button be the slide and the crouch and the actual physical movement of the character, with the grip button being free to continue to do grippy things. I think people are going to be satisfied with that. These are the different layouts. The motion rifle full auto. These are the existing ones right now in the dual wield. So the way it's going to look for motion rifle is jump. It's going to be right analog press. So in the right hand, it's going to be this. So this is the analog stick to move, and then you press it to jump. It's going to probably break a lot of thumbsticks and it's going to cause some drift. So I personally am not a huge fan of that change. Especially when the offhand isn't really being used. You could use the trigger, which is what it originally was. LT will be an option, so they're going to leave that in for people who like using the left trigger as the jump button, but now the thumbstick is an option. A full auto rifle grenade will be changed to left trigger, so full auto is a mirror of the PlayStation VR setup. That's pretty much what it is. So if you're accustomed to using the, I think it was L1 on the PlayStation, so one of the triggers on the front of the gun to throw the grenade, well, that's going to be the case here, because if you're offhand, right, it's going to be the front trigger. So that's going to stay the same. Jump will be changed to right analog press. LT will still be an option. Dual wield, grab knife and grenades will be changed to left grip and right grip. So it's just, again, opening up the grips for people. Orient movement based on, this was a typo. It's not supposed to say primary, it's offhand. Because right now it's primary hand oriented. So where you move is based, if you're doing orient movement based on your gun, it's off of the primary hand, which is actually confusing for people. They rather it be the front hand, which is what it's supposed to be. That's how it is over on the PlayStation platform. For some reason, we didn't think about it and translate it over to the Meta platform. So that's going to be changing. So the offhand is actually going to be, like if it's at the front of the gun, that's going to be your orientation for gun-based movement. Option to turn off artificial turn. So again, a lot of players on this platform are used to physically moving in space. They'll just turn. They won't use the thumbstick to turn. They'll physically turn in space. So they're going to have an option to turn off artificial turning through the joystick and just be able to move in space as they want. You can still do that now, but the problem with having the option turned on, it means that if you accidentally hit the thumbstick, then you're artificially moving while you're physically moving, and it can be jarring. So the option to turn that off is a good thing. 50-50 chance for co-op zombies is added as well. In other words, like there's a good chance that zombies could be in. The build was just updated today, so I'm going to be testing that out a little bit later tonight. But it's really coming along. I've got a really good feeling that it's actually going to be in the release, but don't quote me on that because I don't make those decisions, but I'm pretty certain that it's going to be in, so that's exciting. One other bit of information that I want to share. So here's the roadmap that was kind of released for people, and this is a release window from like a week out to 2 weeks out. For those who don't know why that is, it's not because that's when they expect it to be done. In fact, a lot of things are already kind of done or close to being done. But when you release it on the Oculus platform, release it on the Meta platform, they require you to wait a week after release before you could actually patch things. I don't understand why that is. I think it has something to do with the fact that they approved a certain build, and that's the build that they approve of. So that's the one that you have to release, and they want it to be released in that way and give people a week to try it out. Kind of sucks because if you got a day one patch, you actually can't do a day one patch. You know, Sony lets you do it, but Meta doesn't. So anyway, within the next 5-7 days after release, so approximately around March 24th, give or take a few days, players are going to get the factory map. The control orientation is going to change. The controls for right analog press will be added as a secondary option to the left trigger. Team deathmatch and search and destroy matchmaking and balancing improvements. This is just a continued issue from PlayStation, but it wasn't like super urgent to patch right away. but it will be fixed. And I think along with this, don't quote me on this, I think along with this, the system over on the Meta platform for matchmaking improvements will also be for PlayStation. I could be wrong about that, but I'm going to double check and I'm going to find out. But expect better matchmaking and balancing improvements so that it's not a 3v1, it ends up being a 2v2. A week out after that, so approximately the 31st, again, give or take a few days, depends on how quickly these things can be pushed out. You have co-op zombie mode, desert night and day maps, which already exist on the PlayStation platform, Mag 2 haptic support and B haptic support, so people who have those parts for their gear, you can use that. You should be able to use that anyway. We'll see how that turns out. Integration of Oculus Parties travel system and recently met will be. That's pretty much just the partying system being further expanded on and utilizing the tools that Meta already gives. Addition of sticky grenades and addition of Molotov cocktail. I haven't gotten to try the sticky grenades, so hopefully I will soon. The Molotov cocktail I can imagine working just fine because over in the zombies build they already have an existing fire spread sort of mechanic, an algorithm. So like when an exploding zombie blows up and it leaves fire at its feet and on the ground, they're pretty much going to utilize the same thing. So that is kind of the 2-week roadmap. There's already a lot in store from Tokyo to Spa, High Rise. Those are different maps that are being prepared. I believe Tokyo and Spa are pretty much done. I think it's just lighting at this point. High Rise is pretty much done, just needs lighting, but that's kind of been put on the side so that desert can get finished. I think that's about as far as I know of what is going to be coming for maps. For modes, Hardpoint, Zombies, those should be coming out. Zombies obviously first. Hardpoint is still an ongoing project, but it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good regardless. I got a good feeling about it because Zombies already has kind of like a Hardpoint concept integrated into it. And you'll see that when you actually play, because you can either do it alternates between a survive mode and a defend mode, and the defend mode is very similar to Hardpoint. So integrate that framework into an actual full-fledged mode, and I think it'll be good.